Welcome to today's episode where we are going to discuss selling your property 2 years from now, 1 year from now, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, or next week. So we get this call a lot where people contact us and say, we are not ready to sell, that we are wanting to start the research process of maybe putting the home on the market. Now, I think that this is incredibly smart for a seller to do this. Rather than waiting until the week before you're ready to put the home on the market, I actually get these calls quite often, and there's so many reasons why I think it's smart. The number one thing is I feel like sellers who are contemplating selling a lot of times will spend a ton of money and time doing things to the home that do not actually affect the sellability of it or the value. I've literally had people tear out perfectly good carpet and put in a new carpet simply because they felt like it looked a little worn, not necessarily even dated. I've had them replace countertops, things that a new buyer is probably going to replace anyway and go in a completely different direction. But the reason I think it's so smart is that as a realtor in the market, very knowledgeable as to what trends are and what's selling, is I can walk through the home with you and tell you things that you actually do need to do that are going to make the home more sellable and or increase the value. More so though, I can save you money. I'm a huge believer that when you're trying to get money out of the home, you should not be putting tons of money in the home. Now, I will say 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, you could go in and spend $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 and greatly increase the value of the home. That's not the case anymore. And the reason is the cost of material and the cost of labor have gotten so high that in a lot of instances, all you're doing is recuperating the money that you've put in. So the important thing is when you're trying to get money out, not to dump a lot of money in. And so making sure that you're doing things that will make the home sellable, but not necessarily trying to increase the value to the point where you lose money and time, because guys, time is money. We did have a client one time that literally took almost a year to do a remodel on the home to then find out that it did not increase the value and they barely broke even. But I will tell you the amount of time and stress that they went through during the process, they said never again, they would not want to remodel the home just to simply sell it. Because what you're doing when you try to do that is you're trying to guess what a buyer would want, and almost always you're going to guess wrong. So contacting us 2 years out is actually a really great idea because we can help you know what you do need to do to make it sellable and or increase the value. Now, typically it's going to be just general home maintenance. Guys, people will not pay you because you replaced a roof that was leaking. They expect the roof not to be leaking. They're not going to pay you more because you put in an energy efficient HVAC unit that now actually keeps the home at a temperature that is reasonable. So these are things that it's really, really important for you to know. The other aspect of contacting me 2 years out, 1 year out, 8 months, 6 months out is there's certain things that you may need to start working on. We've helped people contact auctioneers to sell all of their equipment if they were on a farm or a ranch. We've worked with them to find buyers for their cattle. We've rehomed everything from goats to cats, and a rehome of a goat or a cat, that is where we actually find a loving home that is willing to take on your valued pet or animal so that you know who has it and that it is in a loving home. There are even times where we will work with you to allow the animals or the pets to stay on the home. We've had buyers purchase the home knowing that they were going to inherit the guineas, the chickens, that yes, I hate guineas. She always giggles when I say guineas. I would not have taken on those guineas, but this particular buyer was. So there's sometimes a lot of moving parts, and what we find with this a certain generation is that you have spent your entire life accumulating things, animals, equipment, furniture, china, a little bit of everything. And unfortunately, what we see is that the generations that are coming up behind us, they're not interested in our things. They don't want them. Your children do not want all of that. One, either because they've already accumulated their own, or two, it's just not in their wheelhouse. They're never going to use the blue willow china or the dusty rose teacup. So we will work with you to put you with estate sellers. We'll work with you to identify local nonprofits that will actually come in, pick those items up, and hand you a receipt for your taxes. There are so many great organizations locally and ways for us to handle this. So I think it's so incredibly smart when a seller contacts us in advance to let us know. Now, what is the obligation there? Great question. What will happen sometimes is a seller will want to know who's a good handyman, who's a painter, who can come out and do some work. Now, we are going to want some type of a written relationship or agreement rather than tying up all of our best service people and giving you all of this information for free. And then maybe in a year and a half, you end up selling to a friend at church. So unfortunately, there is a little bit of give and take, but that is where our value comes in. So if you contact us, we're not going to ask you to sign something immediately. We're going to come out, allow you to interview us, and allow us to see what you've got to make sure that it's a really good fit. And then at that point, we will start working with you to help you work through these situations. Most recently, one of my favorite things that came up is a homeowner wanted to drastically downsize and move into a 55 plus community. The problem with the 55 plus community is there was not any available units, and so we had to time it as to when the units would be available. And that was a lot of fun, and we were able to make it go seamlessly and smoothly, and the client now sends me these great updates about once a month of playing pickleball and out, at some fun excursions. So there are so many things involved with this process. It's never really too early to start. There's also just the research aspect of it. If you're just wanting to have the conversation and see what it all looks like and be able to have me in the room or someone on the team to be able to ask all these questions, that's absolutely a great place to start. We're not going to show up with a camera and our sign and be ready to list. This is basically just research. So if you are someone who's thinking about selling, downsizing, moving to a 55 plus community, moving to family or friends, and you're just not ready to pull the trigger, but you would like to start the conversation, we highly recommend that you give us a call, let us get on your schedule, and we start the process of just having the communication and giving you the details and what this looks like. So as always, please like, follow, and share. Thank you for reaching out on this topic. We did have someone who wanted more information. And if there's a topic that you would like for us to discuss, let us know. Or if there's someone that you would like to see on as a guest, we'd be happy to reach out. As always, thanks, guys.